This is a stimulus update and daily news report, and things just went from bad to worse. Chuck Schumer tried to have another vote in the Senate to raise the debt ceiling. It was blocked by Mitch McConnell and the Republicans. I'll play you a video clip from Chuck Schumer reacting to this. He is so upset he can't even talk straight. Meanwhile, Janet Yellen has issued another warning saying that there could be catastrophic economic consequences if the debt ceiling is not raised by October 18th. There is one alternative solution, which is to mint a $1 trillion platinum coin. I'll go more into that. When it comes to stimulus, Nancy Pelosi has decided to unlink the bipartisan infrastructure and the $3.5 trillion stimulus package, which is not a good idea because now Bernie Sanders has called on progressives to tank the bipartisan infrastructure bill because it is not going to be voted for beforehand. AOC jumps on board and agrees with that, which is spelling disaster. I'll play you a video clip from Republicans reacting to the $3.5 trillion package. I'll give you some other updates and some other video clips along the way. Hope you're having a wonderful Wednesday. If you appreciate the fact-based, fast-paced updates, hit the like button down below. So just to catch you up on what's going on, GOP senators block Democratic bill to fund government and suspend debt ceiling. That was Monday. It got blocked, didn't go through. Therefore, we are on the path to a government shutdown and the debt ceiling, and U.S. defaulting on its debt. Debt limit showdown escalates on Capitol Hill with no clear solution. And when it comes to the government shutdown, it would delay child tax credits and payments for Social Security checks. So there are big consequences to a government shutdown. We're still waiting to hear on that. We only have one more day left to avert a government shutdown, which looks like it is going to happen, and a lot of federal agencies and banks are preparing for a government shutdown. When it comes to raising the debt ceiling, Janet Yellen, the Treasury Secretary, says catastrophic economic consequences if debt ceiling not raised by October 18th. Although we do have a few weeks, October 18th, it's still a serious situation. So Chuck Schumer tried to have another vote, a second attempt in raising the debt ceiling, and delinked it from the government shutdown. Mitch McConnell blocks Schumer's attempt to bypass filibuster on debt hike. And he was not too happy about this. He said simply allow for a simple majority threshold to raise the debt ceiling and avoid this needless catastrophe that Republicans have steered us toward. Here's a video clip from Chuck Schumer talking more about this.
Look, we've given the Republicans just what they asked for. Just what they've asked for. And that's what we hope to get done. As I said, going through the long, convoluted, difficult reconciliation process with debt limit is very, very risky. We're not pursuing that. This is what they asked for. This is what they're giving them. You would ask them, now what do they do? The onus is on them now that we've given them what they asked for. Red dress. We're doing everything we can to avoid a shutdown, and we should put something on the floor. We hope our Republican friends will join with us in that. Who knows with them? They are so playing games with the American people, political, nasty, and destructive games.
As you can see, Chuck Schumer so upset, can't even talk straight, not as smooth talking as he usually is. Let me know your thoughts on that down in the comments below. Now, one of the options could have been putting the debt ceiling in reconciliation, but now Chuck Schumer has decided not to do that. It might take too long. Here's a video clip explaining why that is not an option at the moment.
Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer is rejecting the idea of using that fast-track reconciliation process to raise the debt limit with only Democratic votes. He told reporters that is risky and a non-starter because the process is complicated and potentially could be drawn out. Now, this helps to clear up some confusion that occurred among Democrats earlier today because of some comments made by House Majority Leader Steny Hoyer. Steny Hoyer also now saying that raising the debt limit through reconciliation is not the best option, nor the option that the GOP is pursuing. Now, instead, in just a few minutes, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer is expected to put a bill on the floor that would require unanimous consent to raise the debt ceiling with a simple majority of votes. The GOP is expected to block it. So once that fails, it is unclear what additional tools Democrats could potentially use to ensure the debt ceiling gets raised before that October 18th deadline. Separately, guys, Schumer did also tell reporters that they do expect to put something on the floor to fund the government very soon.
With the Biden administration running out of ideas, can't be done through reconciliation. Republicans are not on board with this. So what's the next solution? Well, the Biden administration could sidestep McConnell's refusal to pay America's bills by minting a $1 trillion platinum coin. What does that even mean? So the GOP is standing firm on its resolution to not help Democrats raise the debt ceiling. Treasury Department technically has the ability to issue platinum coins of any denomination. In theory, Janet Yellen could mint a $1 trillion platinum coin and deposit it at the Federal Reserve. Basically saying that if they mint a $1 trillion coin, that just added $1 trillion to the debt ceiling. So this is in theory, but this may be a last resort come October 17th if things aren't figured out before that October 18th deadline. Moving on to stimulus and other drama in government and Congress. So Pelosi says Biden's infrastructure bill can't wait for social safety net bill. So that's what she's calling the $3.5 trillion package, stimulus package, part 2, Build Back Better. It goes by so many different names, but what she's saying is that she wants to vote on infrastructure bill first. Now, she was supposed to keep her word and have it done simultaneously, or even have the $3.5 trillion package voted on first. Well, this didn't go too well with Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders just urged progressives to tank the Biden infrastructure bill if Pelosi brings it up for a vote in 2 days. Basically, if that infrastructure vote, the bipartisan one, comes first, then looks like Bernie Sanders and progressives are going to tank it. AOC hops on board and says she plans to vote no on infrastructure without spending bill. And Bernie Sanders says no bipartisan infrastructure deal unless $3.5 trillion spending bill passes first. So what he says here more specifically is, let's be crystal clear. If the bipartisan infrastructure bill is passed on its own on Thursday, this will be a violation of an agreement that was reached within the Democratic caucus in Congress. More importantly, it will end all leverage that we have to pass major reconciliation bill. That means there will be no serious effort to address the long neglected crisis facing the working families of our country, the children, the elderly, the sick, and the poor. It also means that Congress will continue to ignore the existential threat to our country and planet with regard to climate change. I strongly urge my House colleagues to vote against the bipartisan infrastructure bill until Congress passes a strong reconciliation bill. So those are serious words from Bernie Sanders. He looks like he means business. AOC is on board. The progressives are on board. So looks like the showdown continues and many battles come to a head in Congress at this moment. Speaking of other people and battles, so President Biden meets with centrist Senators Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema with Democrats, sprawling economic agenda at stake. So President met with both Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema separately yesterday on Tuesday, trying to get them on board. I tried to see what came out of it. Not really much of a response here. The president felt it was constructive, felt they moved the ball forward, felt there was agreement that we're at a pivotal moment. What does that even mean? So we're not really getting much information. Both Kyrsten Sinema and Joe Manchin refused to give any response to how the meeting went, which probably is not a good thing. If there was good news, we would hear the good news. So I would say in this case, no news is bad news. Here is a video clip from Republican Senator Barrasso talking about the $3.5 trillion package.
Well, the Democrats are on the march to big government socialism. This is blowout spending, which they're recommending and trying to pass this week. Every Republican is committed to defeating this bill because we know how much damage it will do to our economy and our nation. This spending is on a scale not seen before in our country. When you talk about $3.5 trillion, and there are estimates that it's way above that, you do the math, that's over $10,000 for every man, woman, and child in America. That's a really heavy lift. Now let's see how heavy of a lift it is. $3.5 trillion. This is their bill, 2,500 pages. If you take a look at $3.5 trillion price tag and you do the math, that's $1.4 billion for every page of this bill. And they want to pass it this week. How many Democrats do you think have read this? Think Nancy Pelosi's read it? Think Chuck Schumer's read it? Do you think Joe Biden, who is desperately begging Democrats to pass it, do you think he's read it? Do you think he knows what's in it?
With a bill at 2,500 pages, not sure that anybody has read that. That would take, I don't know, like weeks or a month to read, especially with their schedules. Let me know your thoughts on that down in the comments below. Do you agree with what he said? Disagree? Any points that stuck out to you? Let me know your thoughts. So here is a video clip from Pramila Jayapal, the caucus chair for the Progressives, and what her plan is moving forward.
Congresswoman Jayapal, there is frustration breaking out in the Congress with Senator Sanders, with other members, and right here at this desk that I'm sitting at, in trying to figure out what is going on with Senator Manchin and Senator Sinema. Do you have any better insight into this?
Well, Lawrence, it's great to see you. And I will just start by saying the position of the Congressional Progressive Caucus, we are a 96-member strong caucus, has been for 3.5 months that we are not going to move one piece of the president's agenda without the much bigger piece of the president's agenda. And I just want to take you back just for a moment to 5 months ago, August 28th, 2021. What happened on that night, Lawrence, is President Biden came out of the White House. He went down Pennsylvania Avenue. He came to the Capitol and he delivered a speech. He delivered a speech to Congress. I happened to be one of the few that was invited to that speech because it was COVID times and not all of us could go. I was sitting towards the back of that chamber. And I listened to this newly elected Democratic president with a Democratic House majority and a Democratic Senate majority in that chamber, not all of us, but representative of us, listen to the President of the United States lay out an agenda. That agenda was for child care for everyone. It was for paid leave. It was for universal community college. It was for getting lead out of waters and having clean water everywhere, no matter what zip code you live in. It was for health care, lowering prescription drug prices. It was for housing, affordable housing to house the unhoused people. And yes, it was also for roads and bridges. Now, here we are today, and people want to frame this as progressives versus moderates. But let me just tell you, 96% of Democrats in the House and the Senate support the president's agenda, which is the Build Back Better agenda. And what we know is that 4% of members of the House and the Senate are not supporting the president's agenda, the Democratic agenda, and want to make some changes. Well, we've been saying for some time, we've put our vision out there. It is the president's agenda. It's not some crazy, out there left-wing agenda. It is the president's agenda that we are fighting to deliver to the people. And so we still have had no interaction, no negotiation with Senators Manchin and Sinema on what is it that they don't, what is it that they do like? We know what they don't like. That's been made quite clear over and over again. But what do they want to do of the Democratic agenda, the president's agenda? We're waiting for that. But until then, Lawrence, House progressives are very clear. We are not going to leave behind women. We are not going to leave behind people who need housing. We are not going to leave behind climate change, one of the most important issues that we are facing today. And the president is going to have to go to COP26 in just a little bit. And he's going to have to explain, if we leave behind climate, why the United States feels like we can make any kind of an agreement with the rest of the world or force the rest of the world to address climate change as a real issue. So we're not leaving that behind. And that's why we can't vote for the bipartisan infrastructure bill until we pass the Build Back Better Act, which is 70% or more of the president's agenda.
Okay, here's my theory about what the game is on the Sinema Manchin side of this. That certainly Senator Sinema, who says nothing about what she wants is going on, is that they or she or both of them are trying to drag out this negotiation to the point where Speaker Pelosi does move forward and ask you all to vote on the bipartisan bill that the Senate's already voted on, so that their bill that they supported in the Senate, they watch that pass in the House. And only after that do they, for the first time ever, say something concrete in a negotiation with President Biden. Only after their bill that they want passed is passed. And then they feel they will be in a much stronger position to chip away at the legislation that you're ready to vote for.
That's exactly right. And that's why we do not have the votes in the House for the bipartisan infrastructure bill. And as Senator Warren said, this was a deal that the senators made that we were going to move both pieces together. It's something that we've all been saying for some time. It was the deal that was made. And unfortunately, Lawrence, we are now in the verify stage. This isn't about trust. This is about verify. And the only way to verify is to pass the reconciliation bill first, as was articulated, and then we will happily come back and vote for the infrastructure bill. And I'll tell you, Lawrence, not every one of my members likes that infrastructure bill. Some of them really believe that, and I happen to be a part of this, that there are actually bad things in this bill that hurt us on climate change. But you know what? Every one of the Progressive Caucus members has said, I understand I play on the same team as the Democratic Party and the Democratic president, and we will vote for that bill, even though we don't like it. We will vote for it, but we want the reconciliation bill first. And then we will go and we will happily do our duty of voting for the rest of the president's agenda, which is the small piece that is in the infrastructure bill.
So we are coming down to the wire. Tomorrow is supposed to be the vote for the Part 1 bipartisan infrastructure bill, but there is no $3.5 trillion vote scheduled as well, even though Nancy Pelosi said it would be voted on this week. So showdowns, battles, wars, it's continuing all this week. This is a very serious week. I'll keep you updated on that. When it comes to a Ford stimulus check, the change.org $2,000 per month to every American petition for a Ford stimulus check has reached 2,902,000 signatures. And as mentioned before, this Ford stimulus check is not in that $3.5 trillion package. Although there is a lot of public support, many of the politicians who are pushing for it have not tried to get it into that big package. So at this moment, there is no fourth stimulus check in that package. Wanted to keep it real with you. And that is all the stimulus news that I have for you today to hopefully brighten your day a bit. Here's my daughter Bella's tip of the day.
Hi guys, this is Bella. Today I wanted to play something what you should really do. You should always be kind, and if you want to do something very happy, then do it. Like today I'm going to be making popsicles, and I'm going to be doing it with you.
Thank you so much for watching. Appreciate all of your support. It really means a lot to me. So here are some other video clips of the kids from back in the day. Yeah, really nice stuff. Anyways, if you want to check out any of my other videos, you can click up here for my other channels or down here for more stimulus updates, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, be safe. Thank you for watching.